I'm done with monogamy. I need variety. My wife texted me from her fake business trip, saying she would explore other men while I stayed loyal. She never knew I had months of evidence of her affair with a married executive. They now face federal charges. The notification pinged on my phone at exactly 11:47 p.m. on an October Friday. I was sitting in my home office at our Boston suburban residence, debugging code for my cybersecurity startup, while Vanessa was supposedly at a corporate retreat in Manhattan. The blue light from my monitors cast shadows across the workshop I'd built in our converted garage, where I spent most of my nights lately. My wife's name appeared on the screen with a message that would have destroyed most marriages instantly. But not mine. Mine had been ending slowly for months, and I'd been preparing for this moment like a chess grandmaster planning his final game. Jack, I'm done with monogamy. I need variety in my life. You can stay faithful if you want, but I'm going to explore other options. I hope you understand. V. Before we dive further into this story, I have a small request. Please subscribe, leave a like, comment, and press that notification button to boost this channel so more people can discover these amazing stories from Reddit. I stared at the message for exactly 30 seconds, feeling something cold and calculating settle in my chest. Then I typed 2 words that would start a war she wasn't ready for. Variety approved. The reply came back immediately. Seriously, I thought you'd be upset. Not at all. I completely understand your need for variety. You're amazing, Jack. I knew you'd understand. I set the phone down and opened the bottom drawer of my desk, pulling out a thick manila folder I'd been assembling for 3 months. Photos, credit card statements, hotel receipts, screenshots of text messages, printouts of emails, everything I needed to destroy the life she thought she was so cleverly hiding from me. My name's Jack Murphy. I'm a 40-year-old Irish-American who spent 8 years in military intelligence before founding my own cybersecurity firm. My wife, Vanessa, thinks I'm just another tech nerd she can manipulate and discard when it suits her. She's about to learn that underestimating a man who makes a living exposing secrets is the last mistake she'll ever make in our marriage. You see, I've known about Eric Lawn for exactly 93 days. Eric is a married sales VP at a medical device company. He drives a white Tesla Model S, and he's been meeting my wife at the downtown Marriott every Tuesday and Thursday for the last 2 months. His wife, Lauren, thinks he's working late. My wife thinks I'm a clueless fool. They're both wrong. I picked up my phone and called my lawyer Miriam Goldstein, who I'd retained 6 weeks ago. Jack, it's almost midnight, she answered. She just gave me the green light. Miriam. Text message confession. I'm sending it to you now, holy hell. She actually put it in writing. It gets better. She thinks I'm okay with it. I told her variety was approved. Miriam's laugh was sharp and predatory. You beautiful bastard. How much time do you need? Give me 12 hours to execute phase 1. File the papers Monday morning. I want her served at her job. Consider it done, Jack. Yeah. Remind me never to cheat on my husband. I hung up and immediately started executing the plan I'd been refining for months. First, I forwarded Vanessa's confession to Eric's wife, Lauren, along with a carefully curated selection of hotel receipts and photos I'd taken of them entering the Marriott together. I included a note. MS. Alan, I thought you should know what your husband is doing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. My wife just informed me she's done with monogamy. I thought you deserved the same honesty, Jack Murphy. Next, I sent an anonymous tip to Vanessa's HR department at Pineck LPR, where she works as a senior account manager. Their employee handbook explicitly forbids relationships that could compromise client confidentiality, and it just so happens that Eric's company is one of her biggest accounts. I attached screenshots of their text conversations discussing client information. Then came the public phase. I drafted a Facebook post scheduled to go live at 8 a.m. My wife just texted me that she's done with monogamy and needs variety. I told her variety was approved, filing for divorce on Monday. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. Variety approved. Divorce papers, new chapter, but I wasn't done. I logged into our joint accounts and began the financial lockdown. Credit cards canceled. Joint savings account emptied into my personal account, completely legal since my name was on everything. I changed the passwords to our Netflix, Spotify, and Amazon accounts, petty little victories that would add up to a mountain of inconvenience. My phone started vibrating. Vanessa was calling. Hey, babe. I answered, keeping my voice perfectly calm. Jack, I just wanted to make sure you're really okay with this. I mean, I know it's not conventional. Vanessa, I think it's wonderful that you're being so honest about your needs. How long have you been exploring this variety? A pause. What do you mean? Well, you must have been thinking about this for a while. Have you met someone already? Well, I might be seeing someone I've been talking to. That's great. Anyone I know. Another pause longer this time. Why are you so calm about this? Because I love you, babe. If you need variety, then you should have variety. I'd hate for you to feel trapped or constrained. Really, you're not mad? Not at all. In fact, I'm excited to see where this journey takes you. After I hung up, I allowed myself a moment of satisfaction before moving on to phase 2. I texted my business partner, Ray-Ji, execute Operation Variety. She took the bait. Ray-Ji Chun had been my lead developer since we started the company 3 years ago. She was also a former NSA analyst who understood the value of information warfare. Within an hour, she'd set up a website called VarietyApproved.com, VarietyApproved.com, featuring Vanessa's text message confession, a timeline of her affair, and a countdown timer to our divorce filing. The site was untraceable, legally fireproofed, and designed to rank high in search results for her name. By 3 a.m., I'd executed 17 different actions designed to systematically dismantle the life my wife thought she could maintain while betraying me. I'd been methodical, thorough, and kept myself completely within legal boundaries. And most importantly, I documented everything. My phone buzzed with a text from Eric's wife. Is this real? I replied, unfortunately. Yes. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. Can we meet tomorrow? I have questions. Of course. I'll bring everything I have. At 6 a.m., my neighbor, Mrs. MCN, knocked on my door. She was 73, had lived on our street for 40 years, and knew everyone's business before they knew it themselves. Jack, dear, I saw the lights on all night. Is everything all right? I offered her a cup of coffee and told her everything. Mrs. MCN had never liked Vanessa, who she considered pretentious and falsely nice. By the time I finished explaining, her eyes were gleaming with the prospect of righteous gossip. That poor woman, she said, referring to Lauren, and that husband of yours is about to learn what happens when you mess with a Murphy. Mrs. MCN, would you mind spreading the word? I'd hate for the neighbors to be surprised when the divorce papers arrive. Consider it done, dear. The whole street will know by noon. At 8 a.m., my Facebook post went live. Within an hour, it had 37 likes, 12 shares, and 43 comments ranging from supportive to shocked to maliciously gleeful. My phone was blowing up with calls and messages from friends, family, and acquaintances who'd always suspected something was off about Vanessa. At 9:15 a.m., Vanessa called screaming, "What did you do, Jack? I approved your variety, just like you asked. You posted our private business all over Facebook." Actually, I posted your private business all over Facebook. Our business ended when you decided you needed other men. Delete it right now. I don't think I will. You wanted variety. Remember, this is just me supporting your choices. Jack, please, can I just explain? There's nothing to explain, Vanessa. You were very clear in your message. You're done with monogamy. I'm done with you. She hung up, and immediately my phone rang again. This time it was Eric. Jack, we need to talk. Oh yes. I thought my wife was handling all the communications with her sub-variety. Now look, this is getting out of hand. Can we meet somewhere private? Sure, Eric. How about the downtown Marriott? I hear you're familiar with it. The line was silent for several seconds. How long have you known? Long enough to document everything. Long enough to make sure your wife knows where you spend your Tuesday and Thursday nights. Long enough to ensure Vanessa's HR department understands the nature of your relationship. Jesus Christ, Jack, you can't just destroy people's lives like this. I didn't destroy anything, Eric. I just approved the variety my wife requested. If your life is being destroyed, maybe you should have thought about that before you started sleeping with another man's wife. I hung up and immediately called Lauren Lawn. Ms. Lawn, this is Jack Murphy. I believe you wanted to meet. Lauren Land turned out to be a small, fierce woman with intelligent eyes and that kind of quiet anger that comes from years of suspecting your husband's infidelity without proof. We met at Brewster's Coffee Shop on Main Street at 10 a.m. Saturday, and I brought everything. How long did you know? She asked, spreading the photos across our corner table like tarot cards predicting disaster. 3 months of solid evidence, probably longer, but I needed documentation that would hold up in court. She picked up a photo of Eric and Vanessa entering the Marriott, their body language screaming intimacy. He told me he was working late on the Morrison account every Tuesday and Thursday for months. Your husband's company doesn't have a Morrison account. I checked. Lauren's laugh was bitter. Of course you did. You're thorough. Military training. When you're gathering intelligence, you double-check everything. She studied the credit card statements that showed Eric's hotel charges. 37 every Tuesday. Room service, champagne, the whole 9 yards. He was wooing her on our dime. I'm sorry, Lauren. I really am, but I thought you deserved to know. Don't be sorry. You did the right thing. She looked at me with something like admiration. Most men would have just confronted them or filed for divorce quietly. You orchestrated a full-blown expose. They wanted variety. I gave them consequences. My phone buzzed with a message from Ray G. Website had 847 hits overnight. Local news picked up the story. Channel 7 wants an interview. I showed the message to Lauren. It's going to get bigger. Good. Let them both burn. Just then my phone rang. Vanessa, don't answer, Lauren said. Let her suffer. But I had a better idea. I answered and put it on speakerphone. Jack, please, we need to talk. This is getting completely out of hand. Hi, Vanessa. I'm here with Lauren Lawn. We're discussing your need for variety. Dead silence. Your what? Lauren and I are comparing notes. Did you know Eric told her he was working late on the Morrison account? Turns out that account doesn't exist. It's funny how variety requires so many lies. Jack, hang up the phone right now. I don't think I will. Lauren, did you want to say something to my wife? Lauren leaned toward the phone. Vanessa, this is Lauren Lawn. I've seen the pictures of you with my husband. I've seen the hotel receipts. I've seen the text messages. I want you to know that I've filed for divorce, and I'm going to take him for everything he has. I also want you to know that I've forwarded all this evidence to your employer. This is insane. You people are insane. We're not insane, I said calmly. We're just approving your variety. Isn't this what you wanted? She hung up. Lauren smiled for the first time since we'd sat down. That felt good. It's about to feel better. Eric's company has a morality clause in their executive contracts. Adultery with a client's employee is grounds for termination without severance. How do you know that? I read their employee handbook. It's public record. Lauren stared at me. You really thought of everything. I had 3 months to plan. They had 3 months to get sloppy. At 2 p.m., we drove to Eric's house in Lauren's car. She wanted to confront him with the evidence before he had time to prepare his lies. The house was a colonial in an expensive neighborhood with Eric's white Tesla parked in the driveway, like a monument to his arrogance. Lauren used her key to get in. We found Eric in his home office making frantic phone calls. Lauren, I can explain. Explain what, Eric? Explain how you've been sleeping with Jack's wife for months. Explain how you used our credit card to pay for hotel rooms. Explain how you lied to me every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 months. Eric looked at me standing behind his wife. This is a private matter between my wife and me. Actually, I said, it became my matter when you started sleeping with my wife. It became Lauren's matter when you started spending her money on another woman. It became a public matter when Vanessa decided she needed variety. What do you want, Jack? I want you to understand that actions have consequences. I want you to know that your company received a full report this morning. I want you to realize that your wife is going to take half of everything you own. But mostly, I want you to hurt the way you made us hurt. Eric's phone rang. He looked at the caller ID and paled. That's probably your boss, I said. You should take it. He did, and we listened to one side of a conversation that ended with Eric being placed on immediate administrative leave pending investigation. You're an absolute disgrace, Eric said after he hung up, glaring at me. I'm not the one who chose variety over loyalty, I replied. I'm just the one who made sure the variety came with a price tag. Lauren was packing Eric's clothes into trash bags. I want you out of this house tonight. My lawyer will be in touch Monday morning. Lauren, please, can we just work through this? The way we worked through your Tuesday and Thursday meetings, the way we worked through your lies about the Morrison account. Get out, Eric, get out before I do something we'll both regret. After Eric left, Lauren and I sat in her kitchen drinking coffee and planning our respective divorces. You going to be okay? I asked. I'm going to be better than okay. I'm going to be free. She looked at me curiously. And you? Any regrets? None. Vanessa made her choice. She wanted variety. She got it. She also got consequences she never considered. Like, well, she's probably already been fired. Her affair violated company policy. She's about to be served with divorce papers at work on Monday, which will be humiliating. Her lover just lost his job, and his marriage. Her confession is now public record, and she has no access to our joint accounts. Jesus, Jack, you really don't do things by halves. When someone betrays you, you can either cry about it, or you can make sure they regret it. I chose option 2. My phone buzzed with a message from Mrs. MCN. The whole neighborhood knows. Vanessa's car just pulled into your driveway. She looks furious. I showed the message to Lauren. Want to see the fireworks? She asked. Actually, I think I'll let her stew for a while. The longer she waits, the angrier she'll get. The angrier she gets, the more mistakes she'll make. You're scary. You know that, right? I'm thorough. There's a difference. At 6 p.m., I finally drove home. Vanessa's car was in the driveway, but she couldn't get into the house because I'd changed the locks that morning. She was sitting on the front steps, and I could see she'd been crying. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Jack, thank God you're here. I can't get into the house. That's because I changed the locks. Why would you change the locks? Because you don't live here anymore. You chose variety over marriage. This house was part of our marriage. You can't just lock me out of my own home. Actually, I can. The house is in my name. The mortgage is in my name. You're welcome to stay at the Marriott. I hear you're familiar with it. Jack, please. I made a mistake. I want to fix this. You didn't make a mistake, Vanessa. You made a choice. You chose Eric over me. You chose variety over loyalty. You chose to destroy our marriage. I'm just making sure your choices have the appropriate consequences. I never chose Eric over you. Your text messages say otherwise. Your hotel receipts say otherwise. Your Tuesday and Thursday disappearances say otherwise. She started crying harder. I was confused. I was going through something. I didn't mean for it to go this far. How far did you mean for it to go? How long were you planning on lying to me? How many more men were you planning on exploring variety with? It was just Eric. It was just a stupid mistake. A 3-month mistake. A mistake that required elaborate lies and careful planning. A mistake you celebrated in writing when you thought I'd be okay with it. I pulled out my phone and showed her the Facebook post, which now had over 200 likes and 87 comments. Everyone knows, Vanessa. Your family knows, your friends know, your coworkers know, Eric's wife knows. His kids know. There's no going back. You destroyed my life. I didn't destroy anything. I just approved your variety. This is what variety looks like when it comes with honesty. She stood up, anger replacing the tears. You're going to regret this, Jack. I'll make sure you regret it. I'm sure you'll try. But Vanessa, I've been planning for this for months. Every move you make, I've already anticipated. Every threat you issue, I've already prepared for it. You wanted to play games with our marriage. Now you're playing with someone who's better at it than you are. I walked past her to my front door. Where am I supposed to go? She yelled. I don't know, Vanessa. Maybe you should ask Eric. Oh, wait. His wife threw him out too. Maybe you two can find variety together in a motel somewhere. I closed the door behind me and watched through the window as she sat in her car for 20 minutes before finally driving away. My phone buzzed immediately with a message from Mrs. MCN. Well done, dear. That woman finally got what she deserved. Then another message, this one from Ray G. Website traffic is through the roof. A local blogger wants to interview you. This is going viral. I poured myself a bourbon and sat in my home office, surrounded by the evidence of my wife's betrayal and the documentation of my revenge. In 3 days, I destroyed 2 marriages, ended 2 careers, and publicly humiliated 2 people who thought they were smarter than everyone around them. And I was just getting started. Sunday morning brought a knock on my door at 8 a.m. I opened it to find Vanessa's sister, Dana, her best friend, Tiffany, and her mother, Patricia, standing on my porch like some kind of intervention committee. Jack, we need to talk, Patricia said, pushing past me into my living room. I'd never liked Patricia Morrison. She was a critical woman who'd always treated me like I wasn't good enough for her daughter. Today she looked like she wanted to murder me with her bare hands. We know what you did, Dana said, posting Vanessa's private business all over social media. It's cruel and it's wrong. What's cruel and wrong is your sister sleeping with a married man for 3 months while lying to my face every day. She made a mistake, Tiffany chimed in. People make mistakes, Jack. It doesn't mean you destroy their entire life. I looked at the 3 women standing in my living room, all ready to defend Vanessa's adultery while condemning my response to it. Did any of you know? I asked. Silence. I'll take that as a yes. So not only did my wife betray me, but her entire support system helped her do it. And now you're here to convince me that I'm the bad guy for refusing to quietly accept her betrayal. You didn't have to make it public, Dana said. You could have handled this privately. The way Vanessa handled her affair privately. Oh wait, she didn't. She involved Eric, his wife, his kids, his workplace, ultimately me. The only difference is I chose honesty over deceit. Patricia stepped forward. Vanessa is my daughter. I won't let you destroy her. Your daughter destroyed herself. I just documented it. Take down that website. Delete the Facebook post. Stop this madness. No, Jack, please, Tiffany said, switching to a softer approach. Vanessa is devastated. She's staying at my apartment, and she's barely eating. She knows she made a mistake. She's devastated because she got caught, not because she betrayed our marriage. If I hadn't found out, she'd still be meeting Eric twice a week at the Marriott. My phone rang. It was Lauren Lawn. Excuse me, ladies. This is important. I answered on speakerphone. Hi, Lauren. Jack, you need to see the news. Channel 7 is running a story about executive adultery and corporate ethics violations. They're using Eric and Vanessa as their primary example. Patricia's face went white. The news. They interviewed Eric's former boss. Lauren continued. He talked about the importance of maintaining professional boundaries and how adultery with client employees represents a fundamental breach of trust. They mentioned Vanessa by name, I asked. They showed her LinkedIn photo and identified her as the Pinec LPR employee involved in the scandal. Jack, this is bigger than we thought. Other companies are reviewing their policies because of this. After I hung up, the three women stared at me in horror. The news, Dana whispered. This is on the news. Your sister's Variety made her a public figure. Public figures get news coverage. You have to fix this, Patricia demanded. You have to call them and tell them it was all a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a 3-month affair that your daughter documented in text messages, emails, and credit card receipts. The news is just reporting facts. Tiffany was crying now. Jack, please. Vanessa's career is over. No PR firm will hire her after this. That's unfortunate. Maybe she should have considered the consequences before she chose Variety over marriage. You're enjoying this, Dana accused. You're actually enjoying destroying my sister. I'm enjoying justice. I'm enjoying consequences. I'm enjoying the fact that for once in her life, Vanessa can't manipulate her way out of the mess she created. Patricia pulled out her phone. I'm calling our lawyer. This is harassment. This is defamation. Good luck with that. Everything I've posted is true and documented. The truth is an absolute defense against defamation, but by all means call your lawyer. I'd love to question Vanessa under oath about her relationship with Eric. After they left, I drove to Brewster's coffee shop to meet Lauren and plan our next moves. She was already there looking energized in a way I hadn't seen before. How are you holding up? I asked. Better every day. Eric came by this morning begging for another chance. I told him his chance expired the first time he lied about working late. Any regrets? None. You know what I realized, Jack? I've been making excuses for Eric's behavior for years. The late nights, the business trips, the secret phone calls. I knew something was wrong, but I chose to believe his lies because facing the truth was too painful. And now I'm angry, really and truly angry. And anger is a lot better than denial. My phone buzzed with a message from Ray G. Pine LPR just issued a statement. They're firing Vanessa effective immediately, citing policy violations and breach of client confidentiality. I showed the message to Lauren. Jesus, they fired her on a Sunday. Damage control. They're trying to distance themselves from the scandal before it affects their other clients. What about Eric? His company put him on administrative leave on Friday. I assume he'll be fired tomorrow once their legal department reviews everything. Lauren smiled grimly. Good. Let them both learn what consequences feel like. At 2 p.m., we drove to the country club where Eric and Vanessa had been seen together several times. I'd canceled Vanessa's membership that morning, but I wanted to make sure everyone there understood why. The club manager, a nervous man named Robert Chun, met us in the lobby. Mr. Murphy, I received your cancellation request. Is there anything we could have done better? Actually, Robert, there is something you should know. My wife was using this club to conduct an extramarital affair with Eric Lawn. They would meet here regularly, often using the club's private dining rooms. Robert's face paled. We had no idea. I'm not blaming the club, but I thought you should know that your facilities were being used to facilitate adultery. Other members might be interested in that information. Mr. Murphy, please, we run a respectable establishment. If you'd known, would you have asked them to stop, reported it to their spouses, or would you have just kept taking their money and looking the other way? Robert didn't answer. I thought so. That's why I'm sharing this information with the membership committee. Let them decide how they feel about the club's role in facilitating affairs. As we were leaving the club, Lauren asked, was that necessary? Vanessa loved this place. She loved the status it gave her, the connections she made here. She used it as part of her deception. Now everyone there will know what she really is. You're not leaving her anywhere to hide, are you? She didn't leave me anywhere to hide when she decided to humiliate me with her affair. Fair is fair. That evening I got a call from my brother Mickey in Chicago. Jesus Christ, Jack. Mom saw the story on the news. The whole family's talking about it. Good. Let them talk. Are you okay? I mean really okay. This is a lot of heavy shit you're going through. I'm better than okay, Mickey. I'm free. Free from a marriage that was built on lies. Free from a wife who thought I was too stupid to notice her betrayal. Free from pretending to be happy with someone who had no respect for me or our vows. But the public humiliation thing isn't that a little much, Jack. She planned on keeping me as her stable, reliable husband while she explored variety with other men. She wanted to have her cake and eat it too. I just made sure the cake came with consequences. What happens now? Now she learns what it's like to live with the choices she made, and I start building a life that doesn't include liars and cheaters. After I hung up, I sat in my office reviewing the events of the last 4 days. Vanessa had lost her job, her reputation, her marriage, her home, and her financial security. Eric had lost his job, his wife, the respect of his children, and half his assets. They were both now public figures associated with adultery and corporate ethics violations. And I was just getting started. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It's Eric. We need to meet tomorrow night. Brewster's Coffee Shop, 8 p.m. Come alone. I smiled and typed back. See you there. It was time for Phase 3. Monday morning brought 2 pieces of excellent news. First, Vanessa was served with divorce papers at Tiffin's apartment by a process server who had to wait outside for 3 hours because she refused to open the door. Second, Eric's company officially fired him for violation of their morality clause effective immediately and with no severance package. I learned about both events from Ray G, who'd been monitoring social media and news reports like a one-man intelligence operation. The process server posted about it on his Instagram. Ray G told me over coffee at my house. Apparently, Vanessa screamed at him for 10 minutes before finally accepting the papers. Real professional and Eric. His company issued a statement about maintaining the highest ethical standards and zero tolerance for behavior that compromises client relationships. His LinkedIn profile already shows him as unemployed. Perfect. What about the website traffic? Through the roof. We're getting hits from as far away as California. Someone created a meme song with the hashtag Variety approved, and it's trending locally. I had to admit the social media aspect had exceeded my expectations. What started as a simple exposure of adultery had become a cautionary tale about consequences that people were sharing all over the country. At noon, I met with Miriam Goldstein to review the divorce proceedings. Jack, I have to ask, are you sure you want to pursue this so aggressively? Vanessa's lawyer called this morning asking about settlement discussions. What kind of settlement? She's willing to agree to a no-fault divorce with minimal alimony in exchange for you taking down the website and social media posts. Absolutely not, Miriam. She's offering to waive her claim to half the marital assets. That's a significant financial benefit to you. This was never about money. This is about consequences. Vanessa made calculated choices for months. She lied, she cheated, and she planned to continue lying and cheating. She only wants a quiet settlement now because the public exposure is destroying her life, which is exactly what you wanted, right? It's exactly what she earned. Miriam studied me across her desk. You know, in 20 years of practicing family law, I've never seen anyone execute a revenge plan so thoroughly. Most people are too emotional, too impulsive. They make mistakes that compromise their position. I had 3 months to plan while she had her variety. I used the time productively. Just be careful, Jack. Cornered animals sometimes do desperate things, as if on cue. My phone rang. Vanessa, don't answer, Miriam advised. But I was curious. I put it on speakerphone. Jack, please, I'm begging you. I'll do anything you want. Just make this stop. Hi, Vanessa. You're on speakerphone with my lawyer. I don't care who hears this. I'm sorry, so sorry. I made a terrible mistake, and I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. The rest of your life. That's interesting. How exactly were you planning on making it up to me while you were exploring variety with Eric? I was going to end it. I swear I was going to end it. When? After another month, another year. How long was this variety exploration supposed to last? Silence. Vanessa, you texted me that you were done with monogamy. Not that you made a mistake, not that you wanted to fix things. You told me you were done with monogamy, and you hoped I'd understand. Well, I understand perfectly, Jack. I've lost everything. My job, my reputation, my home. Not quite. You haven't lost everything you have, Eric. You two can explore variety together now that you're both free. Eric won't even return my calls. His wife took everything, and he blames me for destroying his life. Imagine that. Actions having consequences. What a novel concept. Please, Jack. I'm staying on Tiffany's couch. I have no money, no job, no future. You've completely destroyed me. I haven't destroyed anything, Vanessa. I've just made sure your choices were public instead of secret. If your life is destroyed, it's because you built it on lies. After she hung up, Miriam looked at me with something like admiration. That was cold, Jack. Effective, but cold. She had 3 months to consider my feelings while she slept with another man. I'm not particularly concerned about hers now. That evening I arrived at Brewster's coffee shop 15 minutes early for my meeting with Eric. I wanted to scout the place and make sure he wasn't planning anything stupid. Lauren had offered to come as backup, but I preferred to handle this alone. Eric arrived at exactly 8 p.m. looking like he'd aged 5 years in the last week. His usually perfect hair was disheveled, his expensive clothes wrinkled, and his eyes had the hollow look of a man who'd lost everything. Jack, thanks for coming. Eric, you look like shit. He sat across from me with his hands trembling slightly. Look, I know you hate me. I know I deserve everything that's happened, but we have to find a way to end this. And what? The consequences of your choices, the public humiliation, the media attention, the website, everything. Why would I want to end it? It's just getting interesting. Eric leaned forward desperately. Because it's destroying innocent people. My kids are getting bullied at school. Lauren can't go to the grocery store without people staring at her. Vanessa's mother had to take time off from work because her coworkers won't stop asking questions. That's unfortunate. Maybe you should have considered those innocent people before you started your affair. Jack, please, I'm begging you. Tell me what you want. Money. I'll pay you whatever I have left. An apology. I'll apologize publicly. Just make this stop. I studied Eric's desperate face and felt absolutely nothing. No sympathy, no satisfaction, no anger, just cold calculation. Eric, you know what I do for a living. You run a cybersecurity firm. I protect people from threats they don't see coming. I identify vulnerabilities and exploit them before the bad guys can. I'm very good at finding weaknesses and pressure points. What's your point? My point is that you and Vanessa made yourselves vulnerable when you decided to betray the people who trusted you. I'm simply exploiting those vulnerabilities the same way I'd exploit a security flaw in a computer system. We're not computer systems, Jack. We're human beings. Human beings who made inhuman choices. You destroyed my marriage and Lauren's marriage for your own selfish pleasure. You lied to your children every time you came home after sleeping with my wife. You stole money from your family to pay for hotel rooms. Don't talk to me about being human. Eric's desperation was turning to anger. You're a sanctimonious disgrace. You think you're some kind of avenging angel? You're just a vengeful asshole who can't handle being cheated on. You're probably right, but I'm a vengeful asshole with evidence, resources, and a very detailed plan. You're just an unemployed adulterer with no money and no options. This isn't over, Jack. Yes, it is. You just haven't realized it yet. Eric stood up abruptly. You're going to regret this. You're both going to regret pushing me this far. Is that a threat, Eric? It's a promise. He stormed out of the coffee shop, leaving me alone with my satisfaction. Desperate people make desperate choices, and desperate choices create new opportunities for exploitation. I called Lauren immediately. He just threatened me, and you by extension. What kind of threat? The vague, angry kind that desperate men make when they're backed into a corner. You should be careful the next few days. I'm not afraid of Eric. You should be. He's lost everything, and he's looking for someone to blame besides himself. That makes him dangerous. What do you think he'll do? I don't know, but I'm going to find out before he does it. I drove home and immediately called Reggie. I need full surveillance on Eric Lawn. Phone records, credit card activity, location tracking, social media monitoring, the whole 9 yards. That's not exactly legal, Jack. I'm not asking you to hack anything. I'm asking you to monitor publicly available information and use your contacts to keep tabs on a potentially dangerous individual. Potentially dangerous. How so? He just threatened Lauren and me. I want to know what he's planning before he plans it. Consider it done. What about Vanessa? What about her? She's been trying to contact Eric all week. He's been ignoring her calls. She's getting desperate too. Let me guess. She wants to team up with him against us. That's my read on the situation. Perfect. Let them, two desperate people making desperate choices together. What could possibly go wrong? As I hung up the phone, I realized that Eric's threat had actually energized me. For the last week, I'd been playing offense, systematically destroying the lives of two people who'd betrayed me. Now they were planning to fight back, which meant I could play defense while continuing my attack. I poured myself a bourbon and sat in my home office, surrounded by the evidence of their adultery and the documentation of their destruction. In 1 week, I'd ended 2 careers, destroyed 2 marriages, and created a national conversation about adultery and consequences. And now my victims were planning their counterattack. This was about to get very interesting. Tuesday morning brought an unexpected visit. I was drinking coffee in my kitchen when I saw Vanessa's car pull into my driveway. But instead of Vanessa alone, Eric got out of the passenger seat. They'd apparently decided to team up, just as Reggie had predicted. I watched through my window as they approached my front door. Vanessa looked terrible. Unwashed hair, wrinkled clothes, the sunken-eyed look of someone who hadn't slept in days. Eric looked angry and determined, like a man with nothing left to lose. They knocked. I didn't answer. They knocked again. Louder this time. "Jack, we know you're in there," Vanessa yelled. "We need to talk." I opened the door, but didn't invite them in. "What do you want?" "We want this to end," Eric said. "We want you to take down the website, delete the social media posts, and issue a public apology." I laughed. "You want me to apologize? For what exactly?" "For destroying our lives," Vanessa said. "For publicly humiliating us, for ruining our careers and our reputations." "I didn't destroy anything. I just made your choices public. If your lives are ruined, it's because you built them on lies and betrayal." Eric stepped closer, trying to intimidate me. "Jack, you have 24 hours to fix this. If you don't, we're going to make your life very unpleasant." "Is that another threat, Eric? Because the first one worked out so well for you." "It's not a threat," Vanessa said. "It's a promise. We have information about you, Jack. Information that could destroy your business and your reputation, just like you destroyed ours." I was genuinely curious. "What kind of information?" "We know about your military service," Eric said. "We know why you really left the army. We know about the incident in Afghanistan that you've been hiding." My blood ran cold. There had been an incident in Afghanistan, a classified operation gone wrong, resulting in civilian casualties. I'd been cleared of any wrongdoing, but the details were sealed and the memory still haunted me. "How do you know about that?" "Vanessa has friends in the government," Eric said smugly. "Friends who can access military records most people can't see." "We're going to tell everyone about the real Jack Murphy," Vanessa added. "The Jack Murphy who killed innocent people and covered it up. The Jack Murphy who came home and built a business on blood money." For the first time since this whole thing started, I felt genuinely threatened, not because their information was accurate, because it wasn't, but because the truth was complicated and the lies would be much simpler for people to understand and believe. "You have 24 hours, Eric repeated. "Take everything down and apologize publicly, or we'll destroy you the same way you destroyed us." After they left, I immediately called Miriam. "They're going to try to smear me with my military service," I explained. "They have partial information about a classified incident, and they're planning to twist it into something criminal." "How bad is the real story?" "Bad enough that I can't defend myself without revealing classified information. Good enough that I was cleared of any wrongdoing by a military tribunal." "Can you get the records unsealed?" "Not without compromising national security and ending the careers of several people." "Jack, this is a problem." "I know, but it's also an opportunity." "How is this an opportunity?" "Because they're about to commit several federal crimes. Accessing classified military records without authorization is a felony. Threatening to reveal classified information is another felony. Blackmail is a third felony. You're going to get them arrested. I'm going to get them legally, thoroughly, and permanently destroyed." I hung up with Miriam. I immediately called my old commanding officer, Colonel Sarah Martinez, who now worked at the Pentagon. Jack Murphy, I haven't heard from you in years. Colonel, I need a favor. Someone has accessed my classified military records and is threatening to make them public. That's a serious federal crime. Jack, who has the records? My wife and her lover are trying to blackmail me into stopping a divorce proceeding. Jesus Christ, how did they get access? My wife claims she has friends in the government. I need to know who gave her the information, and I need them stopped before they commit treason. I'll make some calls. In the meantime, document everything. Record all conversations. If they're stupid enough to threaten you with classified information, we'll prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. Next, I called Reggie. I need you to record everything. Phone calls, text messages, emails, everything. They're about to commit federal crimes, and I want it all documented. What kind of federal crimes? Blackmail, accessing classified records, threatening national security, the kind that carries 20-year prison sentences. Holy shit. Jack, are you sure you want to go down this road? They chose the road when they decided to threaten me with classified information. I'm just making sure they arrive at the destination. That afternoon, Vanessa called exactly as I expected. Jack, we're serious about the deadline. Take everything down by tomorrow morning, or we're going public with your war crimes. War crimes? That's a very specific accusation. Vanessa, are you sure you want to make it? I know what you did in Afghanistan. I know about the village. I know about the cover-up. Tell me exactly what you think you know. You led a raid on a civilian village. Innocent people died, women and children. The military covered it up to protect their precious war hero. But I have the real story. And where did you get this real story? That's not important. What's important is that everyone's going to know the truth about you unless you do what we ask. Vanessa, do you understand that accessing classified military records is a federal crime? Do you understand that threatening to reveal classified information is treason? It's not treason. If it's the truth, it's treason regardless of whether it's true or false. You're threatening national security for personal gain. That's the definition of treason. Are you lying? I am. Why don't you test that theory? Go public with your information and see what happens. There was a long pause. Jack, please, just take down the website. Delete the posts. Let us move on with our lives. No, then you'll go to prison for war crimes. We'll see. I hung up and immediately called Colonel Martinez again. They just threatened to reveal classified information about Operation Desert Shield. I told her. I have it on tape. Jack, that's a national security issue. I'm getting the FBI involved now. Good. I want them prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. They will be, but Jack, this is going to get ugly. Are you prepared for that, Colonel? They declared war on me when they accessed my classified records. I'm just making sure I win. That evening I got a call from FBI Special Agent Rebecca Torres. Mr. Murphy, we understand you're being blackmailed with classified information. That's correct. My wife and her lover are threatening to reveal details about a classified military operation unless I stop divorce proceedings and remove evidence of their adultery from public view. We're going to need copies of all recordings, text messages, and any other evidence you have. I'll have everything for you in an hour. Mr. Murphy, I have to ask, is there any truth to their allegations about your military service? Agent Torres, I was cleared of any wrongdoing by a military tribunal. The operation they're referring to was classified then and remains classified now. I can't discuss the details without compromising national security. Understood. We'll handle it from here. After I hung up, I sat in my office and realized that Vanessa and Eric had just made the biggest mistake of their lives. In their desperation to destroy me, they'd committed federal crimes that would land them in prison for decades. I poured myself a bourbon and toasted to their stupidity. Tomorrow was going to be a very interesting day. My phone buzzed with a text from Eric. Last chance, Jack. Take everything down tonight or face the consequences tomorrow. I typed back, bring it on. And then I called Lauren to warn her that things were about to get a lot more complicated. The FBI is involved now, I told her. Vanessa and Eric are about to be arrested for federal crimes. Jesus, Jack, what did they do? They accessed my classified military records and threatened to make them public. That's treason. Are you serious? Very serious. They're going to go to prison. Lauren, for a very long time. What about us? What about the divorce? Nothing changes. If anything, this makes everything easier. It's hard to claim victim status when you're in federal prison for treason. Jack, are you okay? I mean, really okay. This has gotten so much bigger than adultery and divorce. I'm okay, Lauren. Better than okay. They tried to destroy me with lies about my military service. Instead, they're going to destroy themselves with federal crimes. You planned this, didn't you? You knew they'd do something desperate, and you were ready for it. I was hoping they'd be stupid enough to escalate the situation. They exceeded my expectations. As I hung up the phone, I realized that tomorrow would mark exactly 1 week since Vanessa had sent me that text message about needing variety. In 7 days, I destroyed 2 careers, ended 2 marriages, created a national conversation about adultery, and now I was about to watch 2 people get arrested for federal crimes. Variety approved. Indeed, Wednesday morning arrived with a knock on my door at exactly 6 a.m. Through the peephole, I could see FBI agents Torres and Martinez along with 2 other agents I didn't recognize. This was it, the final act of a drama that had started with a simple text message about variety. Mr. Murphy, we're here to inform you that we've arrested Vanessa Murphy and Eric Lang on charges of accessing classified government records, blackmail, and conspiracy to commit treason. I opened the door wider. Come on in. Would you like some coffee? Agent Torres smiled. That would be great. It's been a long night. As I poured coffee for 4 federal agents in my kitchen, I reflected on how surreal my life had become. A week ago, I was a betrayed husband planning a divorce. Now I was serving coffee to FBI agents who'd just arrested my wife for treason. Where did you arrest them? I asked. Vanessa was at her friend Tiffany's apartment. Eric was at a motel on Route 1. They were planning to hold a press conference this morning to reveal what they were calling your war crimes. How did they get access to my classified records? Agent Martinez answered. Vanessa's cousin works as a clerk at the Pentagon. She convinced him to access your file claiming you were threatening her, and she needed to know if you were dangerous. He's been arrested too. What are the charges exactly? For Vanessa and Eric were looking at conspiracy to commit blackmail, attempted disclosure of classified information, and conspiracy against the United States. The Pentagon clerk is facing charges for unauthorized access to classified materials and conspiracy. What kind of sentences are we talking about? 20 to 30 years minimum. These are serious national security crimes. Agent Torres pulled out a tablet and showed me a video. We recorded their arrest. Vanessa's reaction was interesting. I watched as my wife was handcuffed in Tiffany's living room, screaming that this was all my fault, that I'd somehow orchestrated her arrest, that she was the real victim. Eric's arrest was quieter, but no less satisfying. He just stared at the agents in shock as they read him his rights. They both asked to make deals, Agent Martinez said. They want to testify against each other in exchange for reduced sentences. Will you take the deals? Probably not. We have them dead to rights on multiple felonies. We don't need their cooperation. After the agents left, I called Miriam to update her on the situation. Jack, this is unbelievable. Your wife is facing federal charges. The divorce is going to be the least of her problems. What does this mean for our proceedings? It means you get everything. The house, the assets, everything. She'll be in federal prison and in no position to contest anything. And Eric, same situation. Lauren's divorce just got a lot simpler. Also, I hung up with Miriam and immediately called Lauren. Did you hear? I heard. FBI agents came to my house this morning to inform me about Eric's arrest. Jack, I can't believe this actually happened. How are you feeling? Honestly, relieved. I was starting to get worried about what Eric might do in his desperation. Now I don't have to worry about him at all. What happens now for you? I'm meeting with my lawyer this afternoon to finalize the divorce. With Eric in federal custody, I get everything by default. The house, his retirement accounts, his business interests, everything. You deserve it, Lauren. You deserve all of it. You do too, Jack. We both deserve justice. That afternoon, I drove to Brewster's coffee shop to meet Reggie and review the events of the past week. Website traffic had exploded overnight as news of the arrest spread. Variety Approved was trending nationally, and I'd received interview requests from all the major news networks. This is insane, Jack. You're famous. The story is everywhere. I never wanted to be famous. I just wanted consequences. Well, you got them. Vanessa and Eric are facing decades in prison. Their lives are completely destroyed. Their lives were destroyed the moment they chose to betray the people who trusted them. I just made sure the destruction was public and permanent. Reggie studied me across the table. Any regrets? I considered the question seriously. Did I regret the public humiliation, the media attention, the federal charges, the complete and total destruction of two people who'd once been important to me. None, I said finally. They made their choices. I just made sure their choices had the appropriate consequences. What happens now? Now I rebuild my life without liars and cheaters. ESP business. I find someone who understands the value of loyalty and honesty. And Vanessa. Vanessa will spend the next 25 years in a federal prison thinking about the text message that destroyed her life. Every day she'll remember that she chose variety over marriage, lies over truth, betrayal over loyalty. That evening I got a call from my mother in Florida. "Jack, I saw the news. Are you okay, honey?" "I'm okay, Mom." "Better than okay. I never liked that woman. She always struck me as phony." "You were right, Mom. She was phony. Everything about her was phony. What she did to you was terrible." "But Jack, federal prison, that just seems so extreme." "Mom, she didn't just cheat on me. She accessed classified military records and threatened to reveal state secrets for personal gain. That's treason. It's not an extreme punishment. It's an appropriate punishment." "I guess you're right. I just never imagined my son would be involved in something so dramatic." "I didn't plan for it to be dramatic, Mom. I just planned for it to have consequences." After I hung up, I walked through my house now, not our house, and reflected on the past week. 7 days ago, I'd been a betrayed husband planning a quiet divorce. Now I was a national figure in a story about adultery, consequences, and justice. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. For a moment, I wondered if it was Vanessa somehow contacting me from federal custody, but it was actually a reporter from CNN requesting an interview. I deleted the message. I'd said everything I needed to say in my original Facebook post. Variety approved. The next morning brought a knock on my door from Mrs. McN. "Jack, dear, I wanted to bring you some cookies and tell you how proud I am of you." "Proud of me?" "For standing up for yourself, for refusing to be a victim, for making sure those terrible people faced consequences for their actions." "Thank you, Mrs. McN. That means a lot. The whole neighborhood's talking about it. Everyone's saying you did the right thing. That woman needed to learn that actions have consequences." As I ate Mrs. McN's cookies, I realized that the story was already becoming a legend in our community. The betrayed husband who refused to be a victim. The man who turned his wife's confession into her destruction. The cybersecurity expert who used his skills to expose adultery and betrayal. I was okay with that legacy. My phone rang. It was Agent Torres. "Mr. Muffy, I wanted to update you on the case. Both defendants have been denied bail. They're being held in federal custody pending trial." "When will the trial be?" "Probably 6 to 8 months. But honestly, with the evidence we have, they'll probably plead guilty to avoid longer sentences." "What kind of plea deals are we talking about?" 15 to 20 years probably. These are serious crimes, Mr. Murphy. The government doesn't negotiate much in national security cases. After she hung up, I sat in my home office and opened my laptop. The website was still getting thousands of hits per day. The Facebook post had been shared over 10,000 times. The hashtag Variety Approved had been used in hundreds of thousands of posts about adultery, consequences, and justice. I'd become an accidental spokesman for betrayed spouses everywhere. People were sharing their own stories of adultery and revenge, using my experience as inspiration for their own quests for justice. But for me, it was over. Vanessa would spend the next 2 decades in federal prison. Eric would spend the next 2 decades in federal prison. Their lives were destroyed. Their reputations were destroyed. Their futures were destroyed. I had gotten everything I wanted and more than I'd ever imagined. That evening, Lauren came over for dinner. We'd been supporting each other through this ordeal, and somewhere along the way, we'd become genuine friends. "How are you processing all this?" she asked over wine and Chinese takeout. "Honestly, I feel free. For the first time in years, I feel completely free." "Free from what?" "Free from lies, free from betrayal. Free from wondering if the person I loved was cheating on me. Free from making excuses for someone else's bad behavior." "Do you think you'll ever trust anyone again?" "I think I'll be more careful about who I trust. But yes, I think I will trust again, just not blindly." "What about love? Do you think you'll ever love again?" I looked at Lauren across my kitchen table, smart, honest, loyal. Lauren, who'd been betrayed just as completely as I had, but had handled it with dignity and grace. "I think I'm already learning how to love again," I said. She smiled. "Good. You deserve to be happy, Jack. You deserve someone who appreciates your loyalty and honesty." You do too. Lauren, you do too. As we cleaned up dinner, I reflected on the strange journey that had brought us together. Two betrayed spouses who'd found each other in the rubble of our destroyed marriages. Two people who understood the value of truth and loyalty because we'd experienced the devastation of lies and betrayal. Maybe that was the real victory, not the destruction of our betrayers, but the discovery of what a real partnership could look like. My phone buzzed with one last text of the day. It was from Ray G. Website just hit 1 million hits. You're officially viral. I showed the message to Lauren. 1 million people have read about Vanessa's variety, she said. That's a lot of consequences. She wanted variety, I replied. She got it along with 25 years in federal prison to think about it. Any final thoughts on your week of revenge? I considered the question as I looked around my home, my clean, honest, peaceful home, where no one was lying, cheating, or planning betrayals. Just when I said, variety approved, consequences delivered.